Now that brings us to a next point कि अच्छा what is the meaning of inflation versus segmental inflation. Very simple point कि see यार आप खुद ही देखो कि for example if someone is living in a village in India, they are availing food rations, they are availing public education, public healthcare. So उनके लिए महंगाई की growth rate is very very limited. It will not grow by more than like 5% a year or something like that. But if someone is living in Delhi एंड आपने खुद अपनी हेल्थ केयर करनी है, एजुकेशन बच्चों की प्राइवेट स्कूलों में करनी है, वगैरह 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 वगैरह, सो आपके लिए इन्फ्लेशन विल बी हायर. नाउ इफ यू डू एन एवरेज ऑफ दिस, देन कम्स द एवरेज इन्फ्लेशन इन द इकोनॉमी. सो यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट एट व्हाट रेट द इन्फ्लेशन इज ग्रोइंग फॉर योर सेगमेंट. My estimate is that for average middle class, the inflation growth will somewhere be between like 8 to 10%. अपर लिमिट मान के चलते हैं, सो 10% मान लो, राइट. नाउ इन ऑर्डर टू जनरेट लेट्स से अ 7% रियल वेल्थ ग्रोथ, हाउ मच इज इट दैट यू नीड टू जनरेट योर टोटल रिटर्न्स? वेल इट शुड बी 17%. तब आपकी 7% से एक्चुअल वेल्थ ग्रोथ होगी. ओके, सो in that case what is it or what is the return that you should be targeting from your investment? Well, in order to become a करोड़पति fast, right, you should number one worry about your real wealth growth. So थोड़े से mathematical number से खेलते हैं यहाँ पे, right? So and I will just quickly show it to you so that you get more context. See, अब इसमें ना ये 12% मत मानना, right? And now what you need to think is कि अच्छा चलो real wealth growth अगर मेरी हो रही है कि मैं real terms में करोड़पति बन रहा हूँ, then you assume this number to be let's say 5%, right? कि आपके लिए inflation is or segmental inflation is 10%, you are growing your wealth at 15%, so the difference is 5%. So अब रियल करोड़पति बनने में आपको कितना टाइम लगेगा, राइट? सो आप बनोगे करोड़पति करीब करीब 20 साल में, राइट? सो इट विल टेक यू 20 years to become a real करोड़पति in terms of your buying power. After 20 years, if your real wealth growth is 15%, right? So then comes a very natural next point कि भाई साहब 15% बना कहाँ से लें, right? कि यहाँ पे तो 6-7 नहीं बनते. How do we make like 15%? अच्छा, before I go on to that topic, how do you make like 15% return from the stock market? You also need to play around with this number, right? कि for example, बहुत से लोग जो होते हैं वो EPF, PPF इन सब में 8% जनरेट करते हैं, ओके. And if the segmental inflation for you is 10%, are you becoming करोड़पति or not by doing an SIP of 25,000? नहीं, right? नीचे जा रहा है वो पैसा, right? I mean, you are losing. Your wealth is growing at 8%, but inflation adjusted, you are growing at -2%, okay? So this is very very important point to understand that you need to go to high risk instrument. अब कुछ लोग शुरू हो जाएंगे यहाँ पे comment box में कि hey आप you are teaching like wrong things, this that, EPF is best, this that. See, I have no interest in arguing with you. I am showing you all the mathematics. People lie, mathematics does not. And after teaching you all the mathematical rule, आप खुद you go around and play with this calculator, you yourself will understand it, you yourself will be able to design a better investment strategy for you. But anyways, coming back to this topic, my first simple very important key takeaway for you is that see, I am estimating that right now the segmental inflation for most people who are living in Bangalore, Delhi, Mumbai, all this stuff is close to 10%. If you require any wealth growth on your portfolio, you need to be targeting 15%. Now, can you get 15% growth? Now, it depends on how you are designing your portfolio. Of course, 15% growth can be achieved. I have done it consistently. Many of my students have done it consistently.